Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from deltacx.com. We're a full service CX and UX agency, and welcome to our continuing series of micro lessons on observational research. Before we bring in our special guest today, who's going to be the subject of our observational research, I just want to mention a couple of things about the observational research. First of all, please go into the playlist on the YouTube channel, Micro Lessons. That's where you'll be able to see anything that came before this episode, like the research planning and session 1. The rest of them will be in that playlist as well. I also want to remind people that this is my style of doing observational research, and it may differ from how other people do it. Also, this is happening remotely. It's the pandemic, so I'm not sitting in someone's kitchen watching them cooking, so please keep that in mind as well. Also, please remember that because the point of observational research is to watch the participant, I'm not going to look at the chat room. So y'all can talk to each other if you want, but I'm not going to look at what you're saying until there's a good natural break or until the cooking is over. There will be a point where I'll ask you in the audience if there's any questions you want me to ask the participant. But otherwise, you're here to practice your note-taking. Or again, don't note-take, just watch, and watch it later. Take some better notes, because March 29th we'll be doing a mural board, and we'll be putting our ideas together on that affinity diagram. One other house rule is, please note that I do the thing that everyone says not to do. So please know I am not telling you that you should be like me. You should be unlike me when it comes to taking notes during research. The rule of thumb is to not take too many notes during research, just a few points you want to make sure you make or questions you want to ask. I write down nearly everything the person says as they're saying it. You're not supposed to do that. Don't do it. Try to do it today if you want. It's not going to work. I have that weird combination of UN translator brain and live captionist typing ability. So I do it because I can get away with it, but remember, don't do it. All right. On that note, let's bring in our guest, friend of the show, Shaleen.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello, and hi, Naz. We already have 11 people watching, so I'm going to take out my notes and go through the script. And I will also open up my notes and get ready to type. Hi, I'm Debbie from Delta CX. We're a research agency helping kitchen thingies to better know home cooks. Thank you so much for being a part of our study today. Also, thanks for signing that consent form earlier. I just want to double check. Yes, right, that fake consent form. I just want to double check that I have your permission to record our session and broadcast and archive it on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you so much. Today will be pretty straightforward and shouldn't take more than an hour. I'll ask you some questions, we'll watch you cook a meal, and then I'll have some final questions. Please note that I'm hoping to hear you thinking out loud the whole time. Please tell me all of your thoughts and opinions, even if you think they're negative. We can't make things better without hearing where things are difficult or annoying. You can't give us too much information, and there's no wrong answers. So let's start by getting to know you a little. May I ask your age?
I'm 30.
I believe you. Oh, sorry, I wouldn't have said that in real life. Who else in your household lives with you?
So currently I'm living alone, but it's generally me and my husband. My husband is currently in Brussels. He's stuck over there. But he has a job where he's working in Brussels, and over the weekend he comes over here. But in past 1.5 months, he's not able to. But previously, before he actually got that job, it was just me and him, our dog, and cat.
Got it. Okay, so do you tend to cook mostly for yourself or for others as well?
So current situation, because I'm alone, it's mostly for myself. When my husband is over here, it's mostly him cooking and me eating a lot of food. But sometimes it's me cooking and he eating, and basically we have different cuisine styles. I cook more of Indian style. He does different cuisines, English, depending on what he feels like. But yeah, I'm really glad that I have somebody who can actually cook for me.
When will he be back?
Hopefully soon, as the rule changes, or he's planning to get a good long 2 week holiday, so maybe next month. Fingers crossed.
Got it. Good luck there. I hope you get to see him soon.
Yeah.
So, do you or anyone else in the household follow a special diet, have food sensitivities, or need to adjust food for medical conditions?
None at all. We eat everything, anything, from every kind of cuisine. There's nothing wrong. My husband is a little bit allergic to tomato seeds, so we make sure that if there are raw tomatoes out there, then the seeds are not there. So mostly we use purees or tomato sauce where we don't have to worry about the seeds much.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you for that. Is anybody in your household doing a weight loss or weight gain program?
Sometimes I try to, but then I give up because I'm in love with food. I really like eating, and that basically is pointless if I'm doing all these things. So I just give up and I'm like, nah, I can't be bothered.
Okay, got it. Then you're not going to be cooking a diet meal today.
No, not at all.
Okay, fantastic. How many times per day would you say you microwave a pre-prepared meal?
So basically, if let's say if I'm cooking in the night, I cook in bulk, which I can eat, let's say tomorrow for lunch. That's something I microwave. But depending on what I'm cooking, let's say for example, if it's a mutton curry or a chicken curry, I would more put it on gas stove so that it tastes much better. And sometimes if I'm too lazy, then I take a pizza out of my freezer, put it in an oven or microwave it. So overall, it's less. We believe in eating fresh food. Let's say, for example, before pandemic, every time we used to come back from work, we used to directly go to the supermarket, pick up fresh and eat fresh. Currently, it's just me, so I manage it by myself. Sometimes fresh, sometimes I keep it, buy it for like 2 days or 3 days, and then use it.
Got it. So sometimes you're cooking a fresh meal and sometimes you're cooking with 2 or 3 days in mind.
Yeah, so I just be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna buy 2 or 3 vegetables. I'll make them. I have a board over here where I write what I want to cook is just for me. And sometimes, for example, if I'm cooking lentils and rice, I don't really have to worry about a vegetable. They are already there in the house in pantry. So for that, it's not fresh. I don't know what to call them.
Okay, no problem. So it sounds like you don't have an exact ritual. Some days you're going to cook fresh from scratch, and some days you still have what you cooked a day or two before.
Yeah, it mostly depends on how busy I am, what I feel like doing, how active I am. I am kind of a moody cook. Depends on my mood. Sometimes I just don't feel like cooking, so I just take it order from outside, from a restaurant or something, take a takeout. Sometimes I see if there's something yummy in my freezer, I take that out and I cook.
Got it. Okay, so no real ritual, just whatever you feel like and hope it's in the fridge or the freezer.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. We're trying some questions in a new order. Those listening at home. So quickly, those listening at home, we're trying a few questions that are new, a few questions in a new order, and a few questions were taken out, partially on suggestion of Kayleen and partially on suggestion of boyfriend. Okay. So who in the household normally does the shopping?
We both do. Currently, it's just me. But when my husband was coming over the weekend, we used to go both do the shopping together. It was both basically for my help. I don't like grocery shopping at all. I despise it. Since kid, I used to hate it. Now also, so I prefer doing together. It's much more fun. We can pick our own choices. We can debate over what we want to eat, what we would like to eat for next few days. And it gives quite a lot of variety in what we are picking up.
Can I ask you, if you don't mind, do you know what makes you despise grocery shopping so much and what makes it so hateful?
I don't know. since I was a kid, my mom used to drag me to grocery places, stores in India, and I just used to hate it. And I was like, "What's the point of me going? You are doing all the dealing." Maybe she was trying to teach me. I don't know, but it's just I don't really enjoy. Like, oh, it's a very boring task. Maybe for me, that's why. I
Okay, that
mean,
makes sense.
I love eating, but I can't be bothered to think about cooking and, figuring out what to do and where to buy from.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you for that. And so you're saying when your husband was home, you might go shopping every day or almost every other day. Now that he's away, have your habits changed?
Yes. Majorly, because I've also started working, it's really difficult to go every day. I would like to relax in the evening instead of going and looking for shopping. And depending on what is missing, I sometimes do it in the morning when I'm walking my dog. While walking back, there's a nice store nearby, so I just stop over there, buy those basic things. Like I did yesterday, like I wanted onions, it was not there in the house, so I thought, I'll pick up onions. I don't need to go to a big shopping place, my near one is more than enough. And majorly it's changed of pandemic as well. So since last year, we have started doing weekly shoppings so that we are less in contact with people. We are going less to the market. uh, a lot of people were hoarding food last year, so we had to deal with that thing. So we kind of started collecting our own little food grocery in the house. Um, and that's and now it's basically weekly, or sometimes I have to go and say, oh, something is missing, I'll just go next, close by and get it, basically.
Okay, got it. So shopping is mostly weekly or picking up maybe some quick missing pieces.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, thanks for that. Have you had any supermarket delivery or pre-prepared meal delivery?
Um, yes, supermarket. It's quite difficult to actually get deliveries nowadays due to pandemic. The slots are very less, or they are at very weird times. So if I get to see that there's a delivery slot in my favorite supermarket, I quickly book it, irrelevant of whether I need it or not. It's just getting frozen stuff more from that place, or stuff which I'm very particular about, that I just want it from that supermarket. um, and regarding pre-prepared meal, I guess around 3-4 years back, I actually got a box of Gusto. They were doing some kind of a discount, and I was like, okay, let's try. So they gave me a big box of whatever the meals I chose from the website, and they gave me the recipe along with all the ingredients which I wanted to have. Some of the ingredients were not there. They were more like, you can have them if you like, so it's up to you. But most of the basic ones were definitely there.
Got it. And did the box meal thing work out? Did something make you stop that at some point?
The food was really nice. The dishes, the recipe and the cuisines were really nice. It's just I felt, for me that time I was single, living with in a shared apartment. For me, I thought it's gonna be too expensive. It's I felt they were more, for me, they were more fancy food instead of basic food. So I thought I can't spend that much every time on such a fancy food. Uh, so I just did the discount thing, and after that I stopped it. I was like, okay, I had my bait. I took that leisure of getting a discount. Used it. They're actually good. I mean, if they were not that expensive, I would have continued, or maybe, tried another time. But it's just I knew what it was like, so I was like, that's it.
Got it. That makes sense. Let's see. And you did already express how some of your shopping habits changed from the pandemic. Have your cooking habits changed since the pandemic?
Not really. I mean, some of a little bit of it. Like, you can say that when pandemic started, of course it was not possible to go outside every day. People were hoarding a lot of stuff, so we also like got a big bag of rice instead of just getting small packets of rice. I make Indian chapatis. I need wheat for that. So instead of getting small packets, we got bigger ones for that. We just increase the quantity we want to put in the house instead of just going there every day. And we started eating more. We started cooking more. Like last year, not right now, but last year when everything shut down and, we were like, okay, we don't know what to do. We were actually preparing meals twice. And then slowly that changed because work started. There was more work to do. And we were like, okay, now, we are getting bored of what we are going to eat now.
So when you say you prepared meals twice, was it because you would cook part of it at one meal and part of it at another, or how are you preparing it twice?
It was because we both were home together. We were not working at that point of time, so there was idly nothing to do. Just staying at home, quarantining, and we thought, okay, you know what? We are hungry. Let's do lunch and dinner. It's more like nowadays. I prefer doing lunch and dinner. He's not into lunch so much, so sometimes he eats, sometimes he doesn't. Or we sometimes like, okay, we'll order from outside, because I have a habit of eating lunch and dinner. So I thought, you know what, I'll bring that back and see if you enjoy it. It was good. Then we were like, no, you know what, we are bored of what we want to make, so let's just see if you're hungry, we'll see something about it.
Okay, thanks for the extra details there. I do have a few more questions before it's cooking time. So have you ever taken cooking classes, and what types?
I've not taken cooking classes, but if you can say, I've my mom when she's cooking and I got an idea of how she's cooking. If you take that as classes, maybe that's how. But mostly my learning came from what my mom did. I just used to follow her recipe. Sometimes I look online and see if I can make those things. But it's mostly, I would say, my mom telling me how to do things and I'm just following the instructions, or she has written down the instructions for me and I go and cook. And if I have a problem, then I basically give her a call and say, I don't know what to do now, something has gone wrong, or how do I fix this thing?
Fix this thing. You're not here, you can't taste it, but guess.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite recipes, websites, or cooking blogs, videos, TV shows?
No, I mostly look at Instagram. I follow few food blogs on Instagram where they show how to cook food. They also have a YouTube version, so I see it on Instagram and then I switch to YouTube. But it mostly is like, okay, I like this recipe. Like the other day, somebody was making a version of chicken korma. So I was like, okay, this one is interesting. It's easy. I have all the ingredients. So I just saved it and I then made it. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's fine.
And did you watch, was it just from Instagram, or did it send you over to watch the full YouTube video?
That was mostly Instagram. That particular account did everything on Instagram. Like they did 5 steps of stories where they had videos. So it had everything. The other one which I watch, sometimes they're on Instagram, they say link in the bio, and I click on bio and I go to a YouTube page where they do everything from scratch till end.
Got it. So the link in the bio will usually take you to a YouTube page, and you can follow their channel there.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Do you have any Internet of Things or smart home appliances or devices?
If it comes to kitchen, none at all.
Okay.
Around the house, there is a Hoover, which is Roomba, or you can say that. And there's Alexa, Echo, basically that's it. Very less, I would say.
Okay, so you have a robot vacuum and an Alexa Echo.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Do you ever ask Alexa for anything about cooking or shopping or meals?
For fun, yes, but we don't use it. And I use Alexa app to sometimes list down my grocery list if I'm going outside, just to check box. Or most of the time it's on pen and paper, or sometimes I write it on my whiteboard and take a photo and see if I have, backup of it. But no, I've never tried asking Alexa to give me a full-fledged recipe and then use it. I just find it weird.
You find it what?
I find it a little weird because those recipes are something which I've seen those recipes and I don't really like them. So I
Okay.
don't really ask Alexa because they give the same link. It's just the recipe is different, and I prefer easier way, I would say.
Okay, prefers easier ways. That makes sense. Let's see. Quickly tell me about a couple of favorite easy or quick meals to whip up. You don't have to tell me how you make them. Just tell me what to you is an easy or quick meal to make.
Okay. Lentils. Any kind of lentils are really quick. There are reasons to have it quick because I use pressure cooker. In 20 minutes, my meal is ready because I kind of manage my time where I cook rice and lentils together. I guess that's the quickest meal. And then there are, if I don't know what to cook at all, I have no idea, then I just take a packet of Maggi noodles, which is very specifically from India.
Okay.
And it's actually called 2 minutes Maggi noodles, and they don't take 2 minutes, they take around 5-6 minutes, but they are really quick. They are not like those boxes. You have to break it, put water, cook it properly. You can add things, but that's basically my go-to if I don't have anything to eat.
Is that like the Indian version of ramen?
Yeah, you can say that. That's what they are.
Okay, it seems like the Indian version of ramen.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I'll make a note of that. And then what about some have you ever tried to attempt some difficult or more complex meals?
Yes, I have. I failed miserably on them. Some of them, after a few tries, I achieved. For example, the type of mutton biryani my mum cooks. The first time, it did not came out really well, but now I'm getting better at it because it's a lot of task. It's a very long, tedious way of making biryani if I properly do it. There was a recipe. It's called Mughlai chicken. It's really tedious. There's lots of ingredients, and I feel that I don't think so I'll be able to make it. I need to be much more better at cooking.
What kinds of cooking skills or knowledge do you think you'd need to improve to be better with that chicken dish?
I guess it's mostly the taste. I need to understand how much, even if I follow the ingredients which they tell me, sometimes I miss things out by myself. Basically, my fault that I've missed something out and it goes wrong. Or if I've not added enough spices, let's say, and I followed the recipe and I did not calculate properly and I miss spices, that's where I majorly fail and it does not come out to be the way it should be.
Okay, so it sounds like you would want to better understand maybe different spices and how they combine or how to measure them.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you look at Asian, Indian, Pakistani, Bangladesh cuisines, spices are the main ingredients. You have to play with them. And I am still learning. I just follow the recipe. If they come out good, it's good. If not, I'm going to quietly eat it.
No matter what, it's dinner.
It's dinner.
Okay. Well, good luck there. What kind of mood does cooking put you in?
Depends. Like I said before, I'm quite moody. If I'm trying a new dish, I know I really enjoy it, I would like to try it, I'm quite excited at that point. Depending on how the dish is going, it might put me in a very bad mood if it's not going in a good way or if I've messed up. Sometimes I'm in a very grumpy mood. I don't feel like cooking, but I have to. So I cook, I finish the job and I'm like, finally, I'm done. Sometimes I'm a normal cook. What I do is I put Netflix or Prime on my iPad and then I cook. So I'm a little bit watching. Basically, something is going in the background. So it's making me, okay, like, I'm not getting bored. I'm doing something. So yeah, let's do that. So that's my basically every day. I come in the kitchen, turn on my iPad, and then I start preparing my food, whether it's, cutting the ingredients, like taking out tomatoes, cutting out onions. Then I start everything from there.
Got it. Thank you so much. And that reminds me, are you using a recipe for today's cooking session?
I am using a recipe, but I'm going to twist it by myself a little bit based on how I can make it easier. So I'm gonna make shakshuka today. It's an Turkish, Israeli. It's a mixture of a lot of places. Basically, it has egg in it. It's generally eaten for breakfast, but I just want to eat something different tonight. So I thought, you know what? It's quick and easy. I don't have to spend too much time. I have seen the recipe already on YouTube, so I'm gonna kind of follow it, but do my own bits as well, like add my little bit own spices or things which he added I might not add. Like he added chilies. I'm not into chilies. I don't like chili food, so I might skip that. Add a little bit more cheese instead of adding little cheese. So that's how I'm gonna do it.
Oh, okay. It's usually has cheese.
They have
No.
different versions.
Okay.
Some people don't put cheese. Some people put cheese. I like a little cheese in my food. So, and it's a good food to have cheese on it. Wherever I can put cheese, I'll put cheese, basically.
There you go. Can't go wrong with extra cheese. Did you do any prep before we started today?
Yes, before we started today, and this is what generally I do as well, whatever spices I need, whatever ingredients I need, like tomato puree, my turmeric, and all the spices, cheese, I've already put it outside, grated the cheese. And especially for today, because I'm a little bit clumsy cook, I tend to mess up things. So I have already chopped my bell peppers, which I'm going to put it in my food, and I've already chopped the onions. But even though if I'm not cooking like this live, I generally put everything near me so that I don't have to run around the kitchen. That's my biggest issue is I tend to miss things. So I want to keep them in front of me so that I remember. And they're mostly in order of the way they go inside so that I don't skip anything or I don't mess it up or I don't waste time running around. And sometimes the food takes 2 seconds to get cooked, and if I'm here and there, I might just burn it, and I don't want to do that.
Got it. That makes sense. You're running to get another ingredient and the food's already burnt.
Yeah.
Okay, that could put you in the grumpy mood. So it's observation time. Any questions for me before we get started?
No, nothing from me. If you say so, I can just get started. And
Please,
go ahead.
shakshuka us.
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna take my pan for that. And you might see me go a little bit higher and lower is because I have a step. These kitchens are too high for me. My height is not that great.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be a little bit higher, and then if I have to pick something up, I have to step down. So that's how it is. Okay, so I'm gonna put some oil. I don't really care about the quantity. I guess it's just based on this should be more than enough kind of a way. I don't have a real amount of oil I'm gonna put in. So yeah.
Tell me about the ingredients and what you're doing as you go.
Okay, so as soon as the oil heats up a little bit, I'm gonna take half a tablespoon of ginger garlic paste. They are pre-made. They come in a big jar, small jar, depending on what you want. They're just easy because I get to skip grating and chopping ginger and garlic together. So it's just an easy mix for me.
I'm sorry, what's that?
So I just put, so as soon as the ginger garlic got a little bit sizzling, I added onions. If they were chopped ginger and garlic, they would take a little bit more time to get brown. But because it's a paste, it's really quick. And that's what makes my cooking a little bit faster as well, because I skip things where you have to put raw ingredients. I just use alternatives of that.
Okay, thanks.
So I'm gonna make my onions go translucent. As soon as they're a little bit translucent, I'm gonna add bell peppers to it. I have already chopped yellow and red. I really like the taste of them, not the green ones so much. So I'm gonna add a little bit for that, just for flavor. Right now I'm gonna add my bell peppers
Okay.
and cook for like 2 to 3 minutes more, and then I'll add my spices and tomato puree to this.
Okay, thanks. What did you just do there? You
So I
reached over?
increase the flame a little bit more.
Don't forget to tell me.
Yeah.
Shaleen, we have someone named Danny Love watching. Do you know who that is?
Oh, that's my husband.
Okay.
Okay, so it's time for me to add spices. This is turmeric. They are in my tiny boxes. I got them specially from India. My mom came last year, so I told her to bring it with them because I'm used to them. First of all, I've always had those, and I feel they are much better than the spices which you get in the UK. That's it.
I'm sure they are. How much was that?
So that's basically half a teaspoon of. So this is basically 1 teaspoon for me. This little yellow thing. So it's basically half of it.
So you put in a half scoop.
Yeah. And this is, you can say, cumin powder. That's basically 1 teaspoon. Salt, I eat a little bit more salt than normal people, I guess. So I add salt according to my preference. Sometimes it's a lot. Um, Black pepper, because I like the taste of black pepper in my food. And this is basically chili powder, which is not chili, it's just made majorly for color and a little bit of taste.
So it's not spicy.
It's not spicy at all. And this is basically half teaspoon of chili powder. My spices are mixed, so now I'm going to add tomato puree to it. I just prefer, instead of raw tomatoes, tomato puree. Much quicker, much easier. And I don't like the taste of raw tomatoes, if any, coming in my mouth at all.
Got it. So good match with your husband there, who can't have them either.
Yeah. And this tomato puree is based on judgment, totally based on judgment. I have no measurements for it, basically.
Okay. I'm just lowering the flame so that it can now cook on its own, and I'm going to just cover it for like 5 to 6 minutes. Okay. And what would you normally do during those minutes?
Um, I go and check my dog and cat if they are doing okay, because generally when I'm cooking dinner, I've already fed them, so I'm just making sure they have finished their food or they're eating it. Um, Look at my Netflix or Prime Video, whatever I'm watching. Sometimes just go hello, say hello. The major reason for Alexa Echo is my husband also has it in Brussels, so we are always connected to it. So sometimes I just go say hello to him, see what he's doing, what he's cooking, how much he has done cooking, or has he finished his food, or whatever his plan is. And then I come back in the kitchen, mostly stand over here like this watching Netflix. But it's just my little bit, I don't want to be too far away from the kitchen, because if by chance I can smell something burning, I'm nearby to rescue that thing.
Got it. While we're waiting, I just want to ask you a couple of questions. Do you
Yeah.
make your own ginger garlic paste?
No, this is definitely from market. Never made it. I don't think so I can try it at all. It's just not for me.
Got it. And at what point do you normally know your dish has gone wrong?
I try tasting my dish every now and then. So at the start, of course, it's not cooked, it's raw basically. so it's pointless. But after 5 minutes, I'm just gonna check, and I feel that there's something wrong, either the smell, or I'll try to taste something and don't feel the taste is going okay. And sometimes it's just the color, the way it has come up. A lot of times the colors go wrong. I haven't added enough spices, and it comes out in the dish the way it is. And I figured out, okay, it's not the way it should be. And that's the point. Either I start mending things up from there on, call my mom, go in panic saying, I don't know what to do now.
Does mom have an Alexa Echo?
No, she doesn't.
Okay.
She's mostly on my phone, and also they're like 5.5 months ahead. She's in India.
Right.
So I have to actually ask her first. If she's not at rescue, then my sister is. She loves cooking food. She sends me recipes. So sometimes and she works a little bit late because she's working for US clients as well. So it's easier to just reach out to her, say, are you up? I don't know what to do. Help me out. So I'm just gonna mix it up in between so that they don't burn. And while it's getting cooked, I'm just gonna take my eggs so they're close to me, because it's time I put eggs in it.
How many eggs will you need?
So I'm just gonna make 2 because I'm just eating by myself. It's a small plate, so 2 is more than enough. If you want a large number, you can add more eggs to it. And I've also used a small pan because I don't need to have a big pan, and it's just easier for me to use a small and put everything really quickly.
Okay.
Okay. So with shakshuka, basically what you do is, a lot of people might know, a lot of people might not. You make little pockets within the whole base you have made of onions, bell peppers. You can add more things. People add spinach. I don't really like it. So you make small pockets, and then you just basically break your egg and add it. I'm gonna add cheese because I like cheese. So I'm just gonna add a little bit cheese in those pockets. And now I'm just gonna break these eggs into these pockets. And just let them sit. And just on low flame now, I'm just gonna let the eggs cook. And as soon as they're cooked, they're nice, and basically they cover almost the whole portion, and they bring the dish together so they don't fall apart. The dish doesn't fall apart, and it's ready.
All right. That's great. How much more time do you think it needs?
I guess another 3 to 4 minutes, and then we'll be done.
All right. So I'll ask you a few quickie questions. Do you measure the salt or pepper when you put it in?
Not really. And that's sometimes where I mess up as well. Like yesterday, I made myself the dish and I did not add enough salt. So later on, I had to add a lot of salt to cover that up. Sometimes it's accurate. Sometimes it goes more. So I figured out what to do. And that's where I lack, is I do not know how much to put in what. And salt and pepper is something which is like to taste. as per your requirements, and I mess those things up.
Got it. So what kind of pan do you have? Like, not brand necessarily, but is it non-stick? Is it cast iron?
Non-stick pan. It's a non-stick small pan. I prefer non-sticks. I mean, I've used non-sticks. I just find them much easier. Nothing sticks at the bottom. It's just not a hectic task. It's just easy cook for me.
Got it. Thanks. I don't want to make the eggs burn. Like, are we good?
Yes, we are good. We are good. Another couple of minutes, and we'll be done. And then basically it's more up to how the person wants to. Sometimes I garnish it with like coriander just to make it look good. I use coriander a lot. I like putting green things on my food, which makes it nice and bright. I don't have coriander today, so I'm just gonna skip that step. People eat it with different things. I have basically bakery bread, which is yummy. So I'm gonna eat it with that today, later on.
Great. Sounds delicious. One question. Go ahead. Check it. Please check it. I don't want to be responsible for any disasters.
So it's almost there. You can
go ahead. Are you sure? I don't want to distract you.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I can wait. My question can wait. It looks like we're almost done.
There is time. It's still cooking. And it's on low flame, so it's not going to burn.
Okay, I hope not. Blame me if it does. Does cooking over a flame make you nervous? The pan seemed a little bit wobbly and like you were holding on pretty tight to it.
No. Flames is not a problem. It's just the type of cooker this is. The thing which you put on is not really stable, but because we rented the house, we don't have a choice. If we had our own house, our own cooker, we would have much more stable. And I prefer holding a pan and then moving things. It's just how I am. I feel that I have much more grip to what I'm doing, and I'm not making food fall from the pan, basically.
Got it. Thanks for answering that. How are the eggs looking?
Okay, they are almost done. I'm just gonna a little bit increase the flame and cook for another minute.
All right. So it looks like you've got this on the back burner. Is there any particular reason why you're cooking on the back burner versus any other one?
Yeah, so the front two, this side on the left side, it's a bigger one. So it's a bigger burner. The flame goes much higher and bigger. This is really small, and the back burners are like medium. I prefer cooking on them because they give a good medium flame, not too high, not too less. Depending on what I'm cooking, like rice, I generally put it on a bigger burner because I want my rice to cook really fast. But I prefer the back ones. I make my tea on the small one. My tea is more like an Indian tea where the milk goes, water goes. And I prefer smaller for that, so it does not burn too much or it does not flow out too much.
Right, I don't want you to burn the tea.
Yeah. Okay, my eggs are now done. So I'm just gonna turn off the gas and I'm just gonna let them sit.
And what does that do?
Because there's still heat inside. So instead of, turning on your gas, this is the end part of cooking. Like over here, if I want, I can add more cheese, which I'm going to do it. That's a good plan. Little bit black pepper. I did it before, but just a little bit more just to have that nice taste. And while the heat is still there, it's gonna melt the cheese. It's just gonna cook a little bit more. Not going to burn anything at all.
Now, I've been typing some notes, so I apologize if I missed this, but did you taste the dish?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay. How do you know it needs more black pepper?
Things like black pepper, I can add it later on, so I'm not too worried about that.
All right. How do we know when it's ready?
I'm gonna taste it actually.
All right. Drum roll.
So yeah, my eggs are cooked properly, and it's too hot, so I'm gonna wait for a while.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess I was lucky today. Um, I have a little bit more spices added, so there's a little bit chili, but that's fine. Um, and the salt and the pepper are fine.
All right. That is good news. So, what would you, knowing that you can be a little grumpy about cooking sometimes, how would you score this dish? How did you do? 1 to 10.
8.
All right. That's more than passing. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So after you cook things, do you have the habit of taking pictures of your dishes or posting them on social media?
Yeah, if they come out to be really good, I I take photos of most of the food which I cook, because if they come out right or not, I'm quite proud of them that I made it. The good ones goes on Instagram sometimes. I share it with my family, I share it with my husband. The bad ones, I keep it, I share it with my sister, just telling her how I messed up things.
Let's see, what else do I have here? Do you have a dream kitchen smart home appliance?
Yeah, actually, that would be great if some robot or something can tell me, now it's time for you to cook, put this spice, or now the food is cooked this much, it's time to lower the flame or increase the flame, or the taste is coming out fine, you can continue cooking. I know that's too much to ask for, but it will be, I guess, for a start, a great helping thing where I know, okay, that's the perfect state for taste for a dish. Now I can add more things, or it's based on where it is at the stage. I can either add more water, add more spices, what should be doing, something who can guide me like my mother does. But because she is not over here, I guess a robot or something who can actually do that for me.
That's a beautiful future.
I wish I could have that.
It does sound nice. If you had a magic wand and could improve anything about cooking or meal preparation, what do you think you would change?
I do have a magic wand. It does not work. I've tried. I don't think so. I would change anything. I don't like cooking, but I like how different spices, different things make different dishes, and that's just beautiful. I love eating those. Um, Maybe one thing can be done is make the food cook faster so that I don't have to wait for too long to eat it. And oh yeah, one more thing is the amount of time we take in preparing and cooking the dish and the amount of time we take in eating is, the ratio is not that great. We take a lot of time to prepare and cook something, and then eating is like done in few minutes, or let's say half an hour, and the dish took like 2 hours. I guess if I could change those things, give more time in cooking, the food still stays hot, and less time in preparing and cooking the food.
Where do you think food preparation could be made more efficient for you? Can you tell what step of the process is slowing you down?
Yes, chopping vegetables. If I'm dealing with vegetables, if I'm dealing with meat, if I'm dealing with something which I have to chop, I hate chopping onions. They make me cry. No matter what onions they are, irrelevant of which country I am in, onions make me cry. I do not like that. If I could skip that bit, if somebody could just cut those onions for me, like my husband does sometimes when he's around. But I guess that's the longest time it takes, because one that's done, the rest is, it's quite quick and simple if you know the recipe. It's just chopping bit I do not enjoy.
Got it. Well, certainly I hope your husband will be home soon, if nothing else, to cut the onions.
For sure.
This technically ends our time together, and I don't want to keep you from eating your delicious food. Thanks so much for being a part of our study. It was great to learn more about how you tend to cook meals at home. My assistant will email you in the next few days to get your $100 Kitchen Thingies gift card.
Thank you.
Do you have any last questions for me?
No, none at all. Amazing questions, I would say.
Oh, well, yeah, I have some good assistants who helped me write them.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So back to normal. I'm going to take you off the screen and I'm going to address the audience and see what's happening in the chat room. And Shaleen's mic will be muted. So thanks so much to Shaleen and special guest Danny in the chat room, who is her husband so far away. Hopefully he's eating something healthy and delicious, and will Amazon echo her soon. People in the chat room, any thoughts, any questions? I really didn't get to read through most of what you were saying. I think you were talking to each other, so I was not paying attention. But meanwhile, let me remind everybody to please subscribe here on YouTube and ring the bell so you know when we're live. Remember, we're going to be live for every day pretty much the next week, if not more, between the micro lessons continuing and some very cool office hours on next Tuesday with Steve Portigal. Next Tuesday, we'll also debut our early office hours, early for me, 10 a.m. Italy time, and also the usual 6:30 p.m. Italy time to try to accommodate those east of me. Australia, India, Israel. You asked for it, let's give it a try. So I'll be doing 2 different office hours on Tuesdays. So let's see what questions we have. Constantina said, I kept notes during the interview just for fun. I have to report it's very hard work. Kayleen says, do we need the do you enjoy cooking question? I think I ended up taking that out, or I'm playing with some of the orders of the questions. So do you enjoy cooking? Maybe not. That could be rolled up into the mood question, but I don't know. I'm just going to play it by ear with our subjects and see if I feel like answering it. Sometimes the question answers itself. You can tell from talking to people if they seem to be enjoying this or not. Naz says, could this be considered a cognitive walkthrough? Not totally. A cognitive walkthrough is usually when, for example, let's say I tried to recreate what Shaleen is doing, so I walked through her process because I'm trying to understand what her experience is. I believe, if someone can double check me on this, but I believe it's a cognitive walkthrough when an expert is trying to walk through the user's process to be able to make some sort of CX or UX audit or assessment. It's not Shaleen doing her own task. Kayleen says, I hate to add more questions, but I wonder about kitchen layout, maybe for the next project. Yeah, it's really easy for these research projects to just be never ending. That's why it's really important to decide the scope of this. You can always say, we're going to meet 12 people and talk to them about their cooking. We're going to meet 12 people and talk to them about their kitchen. We're going to meet 12 people who custom designed their kitchen and talk to them about their kitchen layout. Nothing stops you from having multiple research projects that get at different angles of things. You just want to be careful that you're not trying to, I don't want to keep her for 2 hours, even though you would hypothetically pay her. Sometimes you just spin up separate projects, especially if you might want to recruit differently. Here we're recruiting home cooks. Maybe for a kitchen design project, you're recruiting Pier Mario, who custom designed and built our kitchen, which was very beautiful, as you know. Danny says, what would you amend in layout to access during cooking. Right. So that might be so our project right now does not have inside of the scope the layout of the kitchen, just because that is very often out of someone's control if they're in an apartment or a rental house. So that's why I would probably say we might need a separate study, maybe some people who are in rentals and can't change the layout, and some people who custom designed their kitchen and wanted to put, we custom designed that one. So there were things very specifically that I wanted in certain places, and you might want to know why. Wilson says deciding the scope and knowing when to stop. Yeah, always hard, because those of us who have research in our blood and want to put on those detective hats, we just want to ask questions forever. Kayleen says, yeah, I guess if the layout is a problem, observations would reveal that probably. Yeah, like we noted, for example, that Shaleen was stepping off the stool and stepping back up on the stool, stepping off the stool, stepping back up on the stool. That could be a problem if she ever loses her balance, if she ever ends up with any injuries or diseases in her legs. What is she going to do? Is it increasing her risk? Has she ever fallen? I didn't ask her. But this is certainly something to think about. If we decide it's part of what we want to know about people, we might spin up some more research and learn more about people's kitchen layouts. Any other thoughts or questions as we debrief in the live chat room? Kayleen wanted to see the stool and how sturdy it is. Let's see, and Shaleen, can you hold up the stool?
Sure.
I should have asked you earlier.
It's really nice, cute pink color thing.
Yeah. Okay, so
And
that's pretty sturdy.
quite
It's
sturdy.
unlikely to fall over. And it's got rubbery, plasticky things on it,
it's
so
got
you won't
rubbery
slip.
thing on top. So it's quite sturdy. It's not slippery. Sometimes the issue is it comes in my way, so I get really irritated and kick it around, and then I figure out I need it back. But it's quite useful for. I would say it was really cheap. So yeah, I just needed idly to reach out the upper, areas of the cupboard because they're really high for me. And then I figure out that if I have to cook, I just feel better standing on it. It gives me much more area to cover.
Right, got it. Okay, I'm taking you off again. Thank you. Kayleen says, hey Deb, can you start the stream like a minute earlier? I often don't refresh the page in time, and I don't think I've ever caught the beginning, or is it just me? Like 1 minute of lull time. That's hard because I stream live to LinkedIn and YouTube, and it might look a little bit weird. Normally I do 7 seconds before I start. I count it in my head. But I think you will get your wish when we get our theme song. I've asked for a 30-second theme song. So what will happen is I'll count to 7 in my head, I'll start the theme song, and so eventually there will be, say, 30 to 40 seconds at the beginning before the show starts. So right now it does start a little bit abruptly, but when we get the song, that will hopefully delay it. I have not heard back about the song, but I still believe it will happen. Any other questions? I know we're running a little bit late, but I want to make sure if you have a question, I answer it. Anything you want to ask about my notes or something I did or anything like that? And remember, if you wait in the YouTube channel, I think when I start, it will pop up there. You don't have to wait to get the email or the app notification, though that seems to come fast because I get it too. I subscribe to myself to see how fast it comes in. Any other questions? Otherwise, we might wind down for now. Let me remind everybody what's coming next. You can always check deltacx.link/ all kinds of things like /events to see what's coming down the road, /ask to send something for office hours, /reaction for my new Friday reaction videos that will start on April 2nd. So today is Thursday, March 18th. Tomorrow's the 19th. We will hopefully be cooking with Julia, but I haven't heard from her lately, so let's find her. Saturday the 20th, cooking with Kayleen. Can't wait for that. Sunday the 21st, cooking with Maggie. Also exciting. Monday 22, cooking with Joel Barr. Tuesday 23, office hours with special guest Steve Portugal. Wednesday 24, regular podcast with Sotiris, who's going to talk about setting up a user pool. So this is research. Thursday the 25th, no broadcast. We'll all be at Darren Hood's Chit Chat Hour. Friday the 26th, new edition Cooking with Naz. Over that weekend, Sunday to the 28th, hopefully we will still have Cooking with Randy Bapst from UX Stars. And then Monday the 29th, we will all gather in a mural board and start to piece this puppy together. And more after that. Let's see. And Kayleen has a question. I have a question about words. Does X make you nervous? Is that too leading, or am I overthinking it? That could be a little leading. I could ask her, how do you feel about standing on a step stool? But, you know, I'm not trying to get at her emotional state. I am trying to figure out if there's any fear of falling or burning herself on the flame. So, yeah, I think you have to find the most general way to ask that one. You could say, how do you feel about standing on a step stool? But she might say, I like it. It's very handy. And then we didn't get to the, is there a worry about falling, wobbling, burning? So you can always start with something a little bit more general, like how do you feel about? And then if they kind of miss that, I can ask, does it feel stable? And she could say, oh yes, it's very stable. I'm not worried about it at all. Okay, that answers it. You know, oh yeah, it's not always stable. It's a little wobbly sometimes. Okay, how do you feel about that? Is it a concern? So I understand that some of those can sound a little bit leading, but it's not like I'm trying to lead her to something that's tremendously make or break about our project. This is just, is she worried about falling on a step stool? So, but in general, you're right. I do try to stay away from any leading questions or any question that implies that she has a certain state. So maybe the better way to ask that would have been, can we see that stool? Or does that stool feel stable? You know, you can always go with the positive and see if they say no. Are you concerned about injuries in the kitchen? Yeah, I mean, we could say, have you ever injured yourself in the kitchen? Oh, yeah, the step stool fell over once. So you're right. Those could be good ones. Oh, yeah, Constantina says, stay neutral. What has been your experience using the stool? I think that's a great one, too. So, yeah, I'm imperfect. I don't always ask 100% perfect questions. I would say that one was a little leading by asking if she was worried rather than asking something a little bit more neutral. But I think that we've come up with some great alternatives. So I'll try to utilize those in the future. Wilson says, how do you stay on track with asking all your questions without the participant going on a tangent or telling you a long story about something? Yeah, they do that. They absolutely do that. Sometimes you can't stop them and you have to just let them get through their story, and then you have to say, well, let me bring you back to that dish, or let me bring you back to this other thing we were talking about. Sometimes their weird long story ends up being relevant and important. You know, like I asked somebody yesterday in an interview how they can tell if they trust the news that they're reading. And they went on this rant about, you know, journalists, like journalism is dead. And my thought was, even though they didn't answer my question, that was still an important piece of information for that person to share with me, that they answered it with something much deeper than asked. You know, how do you know which news article to trust? Well, I don't trust any of them. Journalism's dead. Journalism is just garbage, the person told me. So both sides, they felt. So I don't always mind if someone goes on a rant or tells me a story. If it gets too ranty or tangential, I'll, like I said, when they take a breath or when they're done, I'll say, well, let me bring you back to the thing we were talking about. And, you know, try to smile and look at the camera when you do that. And usually they're like, oh, yeah, sure. Any other questions before we wrap up for today? To be continued tomorrow. Dun, dun, dun. I don't have any background music, but I do have, hold on. Where's I'm working from my phone today. I didn't bother setting up Microsoft Surface, so I'm working from my phone. And don't forget, we now also have paid subscriptions known as memberships on YouTube. For as little as $3 a month, you can be part of the wacky fun and put up some fun emoji and give me a little bit of financial support on the channel since I have all the ads turned off. And for a little bit more money, you can have the mid-level low ego action hero tier, which is $6 American a month. And for that group, I plan to do an Ask Me Anything stream once a month, possibly more streams than that, but starting with that in April. So if you join that tier, it might, if it's just one or two of you, it's going to feel like personal coaching for very little money. Shaleen, Kayleen says, thank you, Shaleen, for participating. We'll be thanking Kayleen in a few days. I see Shaleen smiling off camera. Chang says, thank you, Debbie and Shaleen. So Wilson says, thank you. And Shaleen is now in the chat room as well, waving at us. Multitasking. Hopefully not burning the eggs. I don't want to hear later that this dish didn't work out thanks to me. So we're going to wrap up here, and I will get ready to play us out of here. I hope everybody will be happy and safe. Thanks again to Shaleen for playing along. And let's see, I guess we will find everybody tomorrow for whatever the heck Julia is cooking. I will go message her in Slack and make sure this is still happening. Thanks to the great chat room. Special thanks to Danny, Shaleen's husband, for joining in. And everybody be well, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Delta CX, available for CX and UX consulting, projects, and training. Contact us for a free consultation.